Okay, I think we're live. All right, guys. Happy Wednesday. Yes, we're halfway through this week. It's December 1st. I can't believe that. I don't know what your weather's like. Like, I'm kind of hoping, once it gets to be winter, like I would just want it to be winter once it starts getting cold. But the weather app says tomorrow is supposed to be freaking 70 degrees or 76 degrees in Kansas, which is frankly ridiculous. Like, I just want it to pick. I love warm weather, but I wanted to pick a season. So yeah, that's my notes on weather today. Okay, it's going to be a quick one today. We are going over pros and cons of joining an agency from someone who did it, which is me, obviously. So right before we start, just want to make sure again, make sure you guys are signed up for the Stand Out, Sign Clients, and Gain Confidence Challenge. That starts next Monday, December 6th. Guys, I'm so excited for this challenge. I honestly, I just keep going through this stuff and adding shit to it because I'm so excited to teach you guys and walk you through it. So it's going to be super valuable. Make sure you sign up for it. Even if you are in the Facebook group, you still need to sign up for the challenge. I'll put the link in the comments here, but you need to be signed up for the challenge because that's how you're going to get all the goodies and stuff to your email list and participate. So let me add that link real quick to the comments. Okay, should be in there. Okay, also just wanted to note that I do these lives through Zoom. So if you're in the event and you don't see that I'm live in the group, if that makes sense. So if you're in the event and you're not seeing me live, go to the group and just the overall Facebook group and you'll see me in there. Yeah. So, okay. Link is in comments. Let me make sure that's the right link. Yes, it is. Okay, awesome. Okay, so pros and cons of joining an agency. We are going to go over the agency model, like how an agency is typically set up. And then what an agency can offer you, what it can't offer you, and kind of dealing with clients. I hit something. Kind of dealing with clients through an agency versus dealing with them yourself. So a virtual assisting agency is a company made up of all subcontractors. So you're still an independent contractor and you still own 100% of your business, but basically you're part of the agency's network and agree to do things their way, and they set you up with clients. So they're almost kind of like a matchmaker. That's pretty much what an agency is. I mean, obviously there's a lot more to it, but they're kind of the middle person between virtual assistants and clients. So agencies usually start with a virtual assistant who gets so booked out and maybe getting extra referrals and things like that. They get so booked out that they might need help. And so they start hiring other virtual assistants and may even train them a little bit to take on some of the work from their clients. So they may have multiple clients and the client load may be too big. So they're going to hire you to take on some of those tasks. That's basically how they start. And then once they get bigger, they become more of that matchmaking, I was talking about, the client signs up with the agency and then they match them to a specific virtual assistant. So the original virtual assistant is usually head of the agency is doing that. They are no longer usually doing tasks anymore. They're just matching you with people and dealing with clients. So how it works, okay, so client applies to work with agency, right? And they pay them a fee. And then they match them with you, and you do the task, you track your hours and turn them into the agency person. And then the client pays the agency and the agency pays you, usually based on an hourly rate. The agency I was a part of did kind of a retainer thing. Like yesterday, we talked about retainers. If you missed that, then go watch that training. It's in the group. But they did kind of a retainer thing where you still track your hours, but like the client purchased a retainer from the agency. So like someone booked me for 30 hours a month, something like that, or 15. Then I still track my hours, but I turn it into the agency and they handle all of that. So when you're a virtual assistant that joins an agency, usually they will have you create a like profile resume type of thing. Usually they'll have like a template and have you create it based on like their branding and stuff. Some agencies, like bigger agencies, may offer some training if you need it. If they're hiring a variety. That's the other thing with agencies. Like when you're looking at it, you need to look at what all they offer if you're looking at joining one, because some of them are just like virtual assistants hiring subcontractors and they expect you to already, did you guys just see, did you see Patton's like play? Sorry, he's playing with his toy and it just like flew up. That distracted me. Okay, anyway, so some agencies expect you to already know how to do the work and then some will train you. So it's kind of like what you want based on where you're at. Some will hire like very entry-level virtual assistants and are willing to train them. They may hire a mix like entry-level and intermediate, and they have may have room to grow into something else. That's how the agency I was with, they had like entry-level virtual assistants, intermediate, and like expert, and then you could also grow into a project manager or online business manager. Like they were really expanding while I was part of it. But yeah, so look at that. But basically, where was I? Okay, so the agency will reach out to you and they have a, okay, so you may do the training if you need it. Profile, resume, training. The agency will reach out to you when they have a potential client to match you with. Now, sometimes that's not like, don't expect one immediately, depending on what, again, it really depends on the agency, but don't expect one immediately. Sometimes it could take a couple of weeks, it could take some months, but if you're signed up with the agency, eventually they'll get around to you. So they'll reach out to you when they have a potential client they want to match you with. They'll check your availability. Like, this is what the client wants, someone for 20 hours per month. Can you do that? Usually that's what they'll ask. If the client requests it, they may set up a quick interview between you and the client. If it's a go, like if they're like, okay, yes, the client wants to hire you, you want to work with the client, there will usually be some kind of kickoff call with you, the client, and the agency, like owner or director of operations. And then from there, you'll work with the client one-to-one. And sometimes maybe the agency director, whoever's in charge of like client retention, may be on a couple calls a month or something. But you'll be working with the client one-to-one from that point on. And then if the client has any issues with your pay, your performance, any of that, they'll take it up with the agency. Now, when you're working with a client one-to-one, usually that means like you guys are communicating on tasks, you're doing check-in calls if you need them, but they still pay the agents, like everything pay-wise still goes through the agency, and also complaint-wise. If they have a complaint about you or something, they go to the agency. Like they count on them to handle that. So some of the good things, like the pros of joining an agency, they can offer you clients without having to look for them. They can train you on the basics and even have, like I was saying, some even have higher level programs if they have like tiered services like social media managers and project managers. It depends on what they offer again. But they may have some like valuable training that you could get. A lot of them have a community of all the virtual assistants they hire to ask questions and learn along the way. They act as a middleman. So that goes both ways. Like if the client's having an issue with you, they talk to the agency, but also if you're having an issue with the client, then you can talk to the agency and they can help handle that as well. And then they usually handle all the back end work like billing and invoicing and all that. So those can be great things, especially if you're starting out, if you're a beginner and not super confident with handling all the aspects of having clients yet and like dealing with them and setting boundaries. An agency can be good to join, but there are also some cons, and some of these, I'll go through them. Some of these are the reasons I left the agency I was with. I'll tell you the big one. We'll start with the big one. Agencies usually pay lower than you can charge when you're by yourself. So they'll usually start you out at an hourly rate. The average for beginners, I believe, is somewhere between 15 and 18. And then some of them may offer like, oh, well, after 90 days, you'll go up. After 6 months, you'll go up. It depends on how long you're with them. But usually, yeah, it's based on experience and usually, yeah, with a contingency to move up. But when you're by yourself, you can usually charge more than this, especially like they're going to base your experience on your virtual assistant experience. And I talk about this all the time. It's not just about your virtual assistant experience. That's why I say, like, if you're thinking of becoming a virtual assistant, if you haven't already, or changing your offer, like you can become one based on past experience from previous jobs. You have transferable skills. The agency doesn't always look at that. Most likely they usually look at like how long you've been a virtual assistant for, and they're going to base your pay and like experience level on that. So that can be a con. That's a big reason I left mine, because I was making a lot more with my private clients than agency clients, and it just like, it wasn't worth it. So yeah, think about that. The other one, another one is the client may not always be a great fit. So some agencies match you with clients that immediately like your profile without an interview or anything. And this can result in you, like, if you're matched with them and agree to start working with them immediately, even though you haven't talked to them like on a Zoom call or even through DMs or like voice messaging or anything like that, it can be like you may not connect well or work well together, because everyone has a different style of how they work. And obviously everyone's is going to be different, but there's people you will connect with, and there are clients that you definitely will not connect with and you may hate working for, and that's okay. But sometimes through an agency, it's like they may not have like a super refined matching process where they ask a bunch of questions. They just may match you, and that can sometimes result in you working with a client that you really don't like. And then you'll have to go to the agency and be like, oh, I don't want to work with this client, you know. So it's a little more to go through. But if you get stuck, another one is if you get stuck in the cycle of being in an agency without growing your own business outside of it, you may lose your momentum. So let me get water, guys. So what I mean by this is, let's say you join an agency and then you're like, well, okay, I'm getting a steady stream of clients from the agency, so I don't really need to work on my private stuff. Like I don't really need any private clients right now outside of the agency, which you can do, by the way. Sorry if I didn't explain that. When you join an agency, you are allowed to be part of the agency as well as have your own private clients, because you're still working for yourself. You still own your business. So they can't tell you like, oh, well, if you join with us, you can't have any clients on the side. If someone tells you that, don't join. That's stupid. That's wrong. So probably a scam. So, but you may lose momentum, and you don't really want to do that, because what if you decide you want to leave the agency one day and then you have no, like you haven't been working on your business outside of the agency. So then you have to start from scratch again. So I don't recommend that part. Like if you do an agency, definitely have some one-to-one clients or like private clients on the side. And then also an agency may work in a different way than you're used to working, or maybe like not aligned with how you want to work in regards of client boundaries and availability. So let's say like you started this business because you don't want to work full time. You want to work like 20 to 25 hours per week. And as a virtual assistant, you want to just have the tasks and be available when you want to, you know, work on them whenever you want, whether that's morning, night, whatever, as long as you meet the deadlines. Well, some people, like some clients that the agency, no, how am I saying this? Some clients that hire the agency, some clients that hire the agency may not work that way, and the agency may not be like thorough enough to ask them about that. And so then when they set you up with the client, like the client may expect you to be there 24/7. And if that's not communicated before you start working with them, that can get messy, because they may be complaining to the agency like, oh, she's not available enough. But even though your tasks are getting done by deadlines, they may, you know, try to sneak in some, like, I talk about client boundaries a lot. I think I have a highlight on it on Instagram, or like a mini training, but that is a client boundary to set, because as an independent contractor, you are supposed, like, that's the point of it. They cannot tell you when to work. They can't be like, oh, I need you to be available from 9 to 2, unless that's how you want to work. But you don't have to. Usually they give you a task, it has a set deadline, and you meet it by that deadline. So that's how it should work, if you didn't know. But yeah, agency may work differently, and that can like cause some conflict. So in conclusion, if you're comfortable working with clients on your own, then I would not recommend an agency. Or if you think you can become comfortable working with clients on your own, the reason I say this is because you can get paid more on your own. You can be more aligned, like make sure you're more aligned with dream clients and work exactly how you want and when you want to work. If you think joining an agency would be beneficial, then you can do that. But I would 100% have both. Like if you're going to join an agency, I would still keep some clients, or try to get some clients if you don't have any already. Try to get some clients outside of the agency. That way, if you end up like hating the agency, then you aren't starting from scratch. Also, if you're a virtual assistant who wants to start an agency, I know some people do, or like want to start, I guess you would just call it an agency, even if you're, if you wanted to start an agency, I can go over, like, there's so many tips I could give you, but definitely be really thorough. Like you really have to think about not only what the client wants, but what your virtual assistants that you hire are going to want, because that's super important too. Because they won't stay with you. I mean, if they can get clients without you, then why would they stay with you? Like you have to make it appealing for them to stay with you, and do a really good job at like matching people and making sure you get like working styles correct and things like that. So that's it for today, guys. If you have any questions about joining an agency versus like starting your own, or starting or growing your current business, then join an agency. I can't think today, guys. My brain is like fried. I don't know. But joining the agency versus starting or growing your own business, like the differences, then comment on this live or message me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, if you don't want to ask it publicly, I guess. And I will try to answer those questions like to the best of my ability. But yeah, also, if you ever have any questions, like post them in the Facebook group, and like that's also what it's for. It's not just for these live trainings and challenges, it's also for you to collaborate with other people and me, and just to be helpful and empower, is to help empower you and like build you guys up and help you connect with other like-minded entrepreneurs. So yeah, okay, that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going over why you need an Instagram strategy. So that will be a great one to tune into. Same time tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. But okay, have a great day, guys.